Hello there. Can I just first say Happy New Year to you all. Hope you've had a good Christmas and New Year. I just wanted to make this video again, part two. Obviously there's a lot of people being onto us, messaging us, texting us, and really the story's just insane, so I thought the best way to do it would be just go on video again, explain what has gone on. So if you picked up on part one, I pretty much was waiting to go back to have my operation. I went back in on the Monday and everything was looking canny. We're just hoping that Royal Mail would turn up with this embryo, which is of the baby's placenta, to operate on my eye. So Tuesday morning came, everything was fine. Checked my eye again, and he said, yeah, I can take you down. I've got the stuff to do it with. We'll take you to the theatre late afternoon. So round about 3:30, they took us down. Obviously this time they said they were going to fully knock us out, which if I'm being honest, I've never been knocked out with anaesthetic since, in fact I think I've had it once done in my life. So the last time was local anaesthetic. Obviously you're sort of aware of what's going on really, but you can't feel now. And this time he wanted us pulling that because he says it is a, you know, it's a major bit of kit I'm doing. I can't have you twitching, moving, budging. I've got to have you out, you know. So I consented to that, I agreed to it. Obviously they knocked us out. I come to. The pain around this, on the front and the side of my eye was just horrendous, you know. Obviously, but within 5 minutes, whatever they'd done to us, the pain disappeared, which I was over the moon about, because I thought I'm not going to be able to take that, you know, very much longer. So gets back on the ward, gets us settled, you know. I'm just chilling, everything's good, still no pain, so I thought, you know, great. And he said, obviously, he come by and says, I'll check your eye tomorrow, you know, give it overnight, let's see how we go, which I was over the moon about. Just chilling, and then goes to bed, obviously nodded off, I'm asleep. And then 4 o'clock in the morning, I wakes up and I sort of put my hands on my stomach, because my stomach was like, I was like, oh my God, you know, just like sort of really felt weird. Went to get up because I felt like I needed to go to the toilet, and the pains in my back started, and I thought, what the fuck? I mean, you know, I'm not being funny. It was just unbelievable, you know. I mean, I've had kidney stones before, and that's the worst pain I've ever experienced in my life, and it was coming on par with that. And I thought I had kidney stones, and I thought, no, this can't be happening to me. Anyway, this went on from 4 o'clock in the morning. It went on for 7 hours, no let up, 7 hours. And in that 7 hours, I was keep trying to go to the toilet you know, well, I felt like I needed to go to the toilet, but there was just nothing coming out. And when I told the nurses, obviously the nurses knew because I was screaming on the ward a bit, and unfortunately for them, they said we can't really do nothing until the doctor comes in at 8 onto the ward. So I was going through 4 hours of hell. The only thing they could administer was like a couple of paracetamol or something like that, which was doing absolutely nothing. They thought it might have been constipation, you know. It sort of suggested that because I couldn't pass nothing when I was going to the toilet. And then the doctor come in, obviously straight away, a couple of examiners, asked, you know, what the pains were like, took me blood straight away, took a urine sample, administered laxative, and then basically 8, 9, 10, 11. So so while he was there as well, I was up and down off the bed walking. He also put his, because he says, what was the sensation like? Because when I was going, it was like I'd started to pee, but like it was like almost like burning pee, which he felt was a bit strange. But because when they got the results back, I had no infection in the urine, so there was no urinary infection. I had no signs of blood in the urine, which would suggest kidney stone, and my bloods were clear, which is just a bit mad, you know. He's saying, I think you've just got a bad dose of constipation coming out of the operation. Hopefully the laxative will start working, and you know, we'll get you back on track. Anyway, at 11, I think about 11 o'clock, the pain went off like that. As fast as it come on, it went off. I was like, what? I mean, the relief in us at that point, I mean, I was absolutely, my heart rate was a bit through the roof when they checked my blood pressure, because obviously I was stressing, trying to deal with the pain, you know. Anyway, so what happened was basically, at that point, the sort of laxative started kicking, not full on, but it allowed us to pass something out the back end, and I felt a little relief come out. I was paying, and then they said, look, you obviously been through a bit of a restless night. There's nothing for us really shows signs yet to keep you in, but do you want to stop in the night? And I mean, just the pure paranoia of what went on, I just said, yeah, I would like to stop in another night. Said, no problem, Mr. Minnie, you know, you can stop in, we'll keep an eye on you. So everything was going fine. I was going to toilet more regular. Passed again, and like, you know, I just felt a little bit more sort of myself, if you want to call it that. And then again, middle of the night, pains kicked in. It was only for about an hour this time, but it was enough to frighten the light out of us again, but then it went off. And then I think as the time grew towards the morning, getting back up and having a bit of breakfast and that, it sort of, I sort of felt not too bad. Anyway, the doctor come in, the consultant come in to check my eye, and he checked it, and he said, look, the eyes, you know, the operation went as good as it could have gone, but he did say he had a nightmare trying to stitch a hole up, because obviously it was bigger than he thought once he took the super glue off, and he was trying to, you know, tie it in and stitch and put stitches in, and he says it was just like, you know, he says it was a really difficult operation, but he says, you know, I'm happy with what I'm seeing. And he says, oh, I heard about your restlessness and all that, you okay, you feeling better? I says, well, I'm still feel a bit like constipated, still sort of looking to go to the toilet for that relief, and it's not necessarily given as if full on, but you know, hopefully the laxatives will get around my body and thing. He says, well, are you looking to go home then, or? And I says, well, yeah, I says, Christmas, I might as well make a move, and you know, hopefully everything will be okay. So I goes out, gets someone to pick us up, the brother-in-law comes up for us, and gets back home, and within about 3 hours of being back home, the pain comes again. I'm like thinking, fuck, I can't fucking believe this. Like, I mean, this pain, I mean, it's hard to explain if you haven't got it, but trust us, when it's there, you cannot sit down, you cannot, you know, physically do anything. It's just horrendous, you know. Anyway, it went off after a couple of hours, and then I get this like respite where I'm sort of not in pain, but I'm still sort of, there's a little bit discomfort still there, if you want to say so. I can't really do much. I kind of concentrate as such, and just having to sort of go through the motions. Anyway, on the Thursday night, so that's the day I got out, at 11 o'clock, the pain kicks in. I thought, you couldn't make this up, you know. I'm thinking, I'm not going to even get to bed tonight. That pain went on from 11 and it didn't stop. I didn't get no break. I was trying to deal with it until literally 5 o'clock the next day. So much so that I decided I was going to A&E. I thought, this is to sum it up, you know. So I went to A&E South Shields on Christmas Eve, ho ho ho, and it was absolutely rammed. And I thought, well, you know, fair enough. But what was mad was, I took 2 ibuprofen before I jumped into the car because I didn't know whether I could even stay in the car. My wife was going to take us down, and for whatever reason, I got to the A&E and the pain stopped. I thought, fucking honestly, what is going on here? So at this point in A&E, all I was really doing was just wanting to pee. So in A&E, I don't know if you've been in South Shields A&E, but the toilets are like in the A&E, so it sort of worked out canny. So I said, well, call me name, get me bloods. I was like, yeah, I'm in the toilet, and I come out and I got me bloods, got all of it sorted. And I got fast tracked quite quickly, but obviously the problem was that then you've got to go on to the next stage, and obviously that's the waiting stage. Now, between me, you and the gatepost, I do a lot of work for high-level surgeons, doctors, people like that. Obviously they're in the know. I kept very friendly with them, and one particular doctor, I'll not name his name, I'd been on the phone to him explaining what was going on, and you know, he says, you really need to come in to get seen. But when I told him I was going to A&E, he had rang to try and get us seen. But unfortunately that night I had emergencies coming in and all sorts of things happening. I waited there about 7 hours, and I was absolutely dropping because I'd had no sleep from that 11 o'clock the night before right way around, so I was absolutely goosed. And then I had my wife's cousin who works on security there, and he went to find out just to see what was going on and maybe possibly when I might get seen. And he come back and he says, the sister's saying you're looking at least another 3 hours wait, and that's, you know, minimum. It's not guaranteed. And because I was feeling okay at that point, I just thought, I've got to go home and try and get some sleep. So anyway, I came back, managed to get my head down. And then on a Sunday morning, obviously the doctor texts us back and says, look, come into Sunderland, because he works mainly in Sunderland. He was on call all the Christmas and New Year, and he says, I'll get you seen to, you know. So that was the plan in the morning. I was going to go over to the park because I was very concerned, you know, obviously. And then you couldn't make this up. So all of a sudden, I goes to the toilet as I woke up, and I just both pee and poop, yeah. So I thought, oh great, relief. Come back down to me man cave, got back in, sat down just for a bit of relief, and then like 15 minutes later, 20 minutes later, I needed to go to the toilet again. I was like, wow. So I back up the toilet, come down, 15 minutes, 20 minutes in the seat, trying to chill, back to the toilet. So when he said, oh, come over, I was trying to wait until it settled down so I could then, you know, get a taxi or whatever and get over there and get seen. But from basically that point, I could not stop going to the toilet, peeing and pooping. Like, so what was it, Saturday? It would have been the Sunday, all this Sunday, all Sunday night, all Monday night, all Tuesday night. I'm not lying, it was 24/7, and I could not break the cycle. And what happened on the Monday was me right ankle started to swell up, and obviously my foot, and then these two fingers were numb and not really doing anything, and underneath the bottom of my hand, my palm went numb. It was a bit concerning, but I just thought, you know, it's probably, when I'm straining to the toilet, I'm pushing everything on my right foot down, so maybe, you know, I've done myself an injury. And my hands, I'll be honest with you, when I was on the toilet, my hand was down in between the rim, grabbing me cotton balls basically, because it was that painful to pee, the poop, that they were rubbing against the rim inside. There was that much, you know, I was stressing that much that me hands looked like I'd been in a bare knuckle fight. They were ripped to shreds, swollen. It's just hard to explain. It was absolutely mental, you know. And I mean, you're talking like, I don't know, maybe 3 times in an hour I was going to the toilet every hour. And it wasn't easy when I was on the toilet. It was like a total mission, you know. So I was trying to tell the doctor, I says, look, I'm trying to get you, but I wouldn't even make it into the car, and I'd be shit me pants. Or, and it wasn't just a case of shit me pants. I wasn't bothered about shit me pants, but what I was bothered about was that when you're trying to shit your pants, it's like a total, it's hard to explain. It's just like you're all over the place, you know. You can't rest, you can't sit still. So, and you're jumping up and you're jumping down. It was just horrendous. Anyway, so this went on, like I say, until the early hours of early hours of Wednesday morning it would have been. Yeah. So Wednesday morning was coming in. Now I had an appointment to go back to see the eye guy, and it just so happens about, I don't know, it must have been about 7, 8 o'clock. The constipation came back. Now there wasn't the pains there that I had been having, but the fact I had to keep going back and forth to the toilet was just insane. It was insane. I was like, how much shit can someone have? How much weight can someone have, you know? It was just absolutely mental, you know? And the fatigue and, like, you know, the fact I hadn't been a kid, and I didn't know where I wanted to be, what I wanted to do. And obviously it spoiled Christmas a little bit for the bairn and my lass and the mother-in-law, because obviously they were over and they must have thought, fucking here he goes again, he's up to the bog, back down the bog. But they knew I was, you know, not in the best of places. And then during all this, all I was doing was I was administering the steroid drops when I could, sitting down for 2 minutes, putting them in, the drops, the drips, still taking the steroids and all the rest of it. So I was keeping on with the eye medication, obviously, which was important. But I thought, when I go here tomorrow afternoon to see the eye guy, he's just going to go, the eye's knackered, because I was under that much stress. I just thought he's going to say, I'm sorry, but, you know, it's gone, type of thing. Anyway, like I said, I managed to get over to the hospital, but I knew in my mind straight away, as soon as I finished with that appointment, I was going straight over to Sunderland and get over there to see what the hell was going on. So I gets in, obviously he pretty much sees us straight away, the consultant, and I was sort of starting to tell him as I was going into the room to get my eye looked at, and he was going, really? Oh, and he's going, no, he's going, oh, you could have clots. He went, oh, I can't believe that's been going on. So anyway, if you can sit down, I'll have a quick look at the eye. Anyway, he looked at it, and he said, look, I'll be honest with you, it's looking really good. It's as good as I could have expected it to look. So even though you have been through hell a little bit, your eyes, you know, the operation recovery is, should we say, is on track, type of thing. And I says, oh, that's great. And he says, look, let's get you to see the ward doctor. So obviously the ward doctor come in, because I knew the other doctor. I says, look, do you mind us putting in touch with him and just have a bit chat with him? But I went, to be honest with you, I'm going to go over to there anyway. Anyway, he'd done a couple of little tests, and he says, yeah, you're better off going over there. They've got better machines and all that, and we can do very little for you other than what we've done the other day. So I says, I know worries. Anyway, they upgraded my prescription, because obviously after he seen my eye, he wanted to change a few of the meds, different things. Got that top and tailed out. And then he says, oh, you got anyone to take you over? I says, well, I haven't. I got dropped off, but I didn't want them to wait. And I says, I'll just get a taxi. He went, all right, okay. Oh, fucking well. Yeah, you would have thought they would have rushed us all in an ambulance, but never mind. I just thought I need to get the park, the Sunderland Royal. So I get over to Sunderland Royal, and like goes to this what they call emergency daycare. So I didn't go to A&E went to emergency daycare, and obviously I rang the doctor, I told him I was in there. He actually come to see us straight away in the waiting room. The waiting room was huge and it was absolutely rammed. And he says, oh, you know, he says, I'll see what I can sort out now and see if I can get you, just find out what the hell's going on here type thing. So anyway, he went off, and next thing they called me name out, John Binney, went over, got like in with this nurse. She went through everything like a nurse doctor, check this, check that, check everything. She says, look, we can't really let you go until I've seen the bloods, but she says, you know, that hopefully it'll not take too much longer to get them back and see what we can help you with. Anyway, cut long story short, probably within about another 15-20 minutes, they called me name out again, which was brilliant because I was only in there, like what? I mean, I'd be lucky if I'd have been in an hour, you know, an hour and a quarter. And they said, John Bunny, and I'm still trying to pee on the toilet. Come out, I said, yeah. He says, come through. She says, oh, we're going to have to take you in. I was like, eh? She says, we're going to have to take you in, you're in critical condition. I was like, what? She says, oh yeah. She says, I'll get you in this side room. She says, just be patient, sit on the bed and like, we're going to get you sorted, you know. Anyway, they come in with a scanner thing, put the scanner on my stomach. Obviously, because they were looking for something, they seen it, obviously, they confirmed that. What had happened was my bladder had filled up, like the size of a football. I thought I was peeing out of it. Really, I wasn't. I was only getting little bits out of it, and it was the pressure on the bladder was then pushing up into my kidneys, which was making my kidneys start to fail. And so what they had to do was drain the bladder to release the pressure off the kidneys in the hope that I hadn't damaged them. So they had to put a catheter on us. The fucking, oh wow. I don't know if anyone's had a catheter, but I swear down, my experience of that was just the craziest thing ever. I mean, at first, you know, they numb you up and she says, oh, you'll just feel a little stinging, and I went in and I was like, ooh, you know, like a little bit of that and a little bit of this. And then I was just sitting there, it's quite relaxed actually for about a few minutes, and then honestly, all of a sudden, I can't even describe the feeling. I was like, and I just fucking took off, man. I was like, what the fuck? So, there's two nurses there trying to pull me way out my bladder into like a fucking bucket, basically. And I'm screaming, going, get it out, I can't, nah, get it out. So I can't take it out, Mr. Binney, we've got to get this out, you'll be okay once we get out. Anyway, this must have went on for 20 minutes, and I swear down, how I didn't pass out, how I didn't fucking fall over, I don't know, you know. But fuck me, the fucking pain, man. I was like, come on, man, really? Anyway, again, cut long story short, once they got it out of us, the relief was unbelievable, you know what I mean? Just like, wow. I was just like, whoa. So anyway, so I got this tube coming out the end of my dick, got this like box with a hook on, obviously this cap that's where your pee guns into. You hang that on the side of the bed or wherever you are, just for comfort. The tube drapes down, and then we've got like an overflow bag on the bottom. So I'm relaxing on the bed now, thinking, you know, I didn't have to come for a pee anymore, it's automatically doing it. And the difference, it did actually feel unbelievable. Anyway, so the doctor came in and says, look, can't really do anything much more for you now, we just have to see how the kidneys are going to go overnight, and so I'll see you in the morning, but you should be pretty much settled, we'll get you up onto the ward, you know. So obviously, the man nurse come in and they went, you got any jammies, Mr. Binney? I went, I didn't wear jammies, mate. So he says, oh, don't worry, I'll go and get you some. So he comes in with these luminous green fucking jammy bottoms, right? Which when I put them in, were fucking half-mast, you know? I looked like fucking Max Wall on crack or something. I was just like, what the fuck? But I thought, well, I'm on the ward, so it didn't really matter, you know? And obviously this tube coming out the little slits between the buttons and putting my handbag of piss, you know. I just thought, wow. Anyway, they took us up to the ward. I was sharing a ward with 4 other guys and didn't get a side room this time, but I wasn't bothered anyway. I was just totally in one of them states where I just felt like $1 million. I don't know how to explain it. I just thought, fuck for that, you know. Now, when I was down there and they got the payout over, so I was a bit concerned because I thought I hadn't been pooping properly. It was just bits of poop. And so I said, look, you know, what can you do to get the poop out of us just so I'm cleaned up, so I'm not straining if I go to the bog? And she said, oh, I'm doing them. And I said, well, does that hurt? Because if it does, I don't want it. I said, but if it doesn't, then I'd like to have it, you know. And she said, oh, no, it doesn't hurt, you know, it's fine. Obviously, on the night when I got the ward, and I got settled, obviously said to the nurse, would you mind giving us the MR, because I'm meant to be getting one? She went, oh yeah, no problem, Mr. Binney. So anyway, she come through, she said, just lean on your left-hand side, and she said, we'll get sorted. Now, in my mind, an enema, because we never had one, I thought they drew the shit out of you. Well, I wish I had explained what was going on. It would have made life a lot easier. So anyway, she squirts this stuff up my bum, and I'm thinking I'm already shitting myself. I'm like, I'm not shitting me out. She went, no, it's just the liquid coming out. It's fine. Don't worry. And then obviously she stopped and she went, clench your butt cheeks together. And she said, you've got probably 1 to 3 minutes and you'll end up having to go to the toilet. I was like, yeah, having to go to what you want. I thought you turned out, no. I says, well, where's the toilet? And she says, could you manage to come on? I went, fucking, yeah. So anyway, she shot off out the curtain, got the commode, come back in, and I don't know how I made it the commode. I really don't. But I could feel it just wanting to go bam, you know. Anyway, I got out, grabbed me bag of piss, jumped on on this cardboard carton, and just, it was just insane. You know, it's like a fucking 4th of July. I was like, wow. Anyway, the relief on that as well was amazing, because I felt I just was like a free spirit. I was clean, you know. Felt like could sleep, and that's exactly what I did. I basically went back to the bed, and I had had enough, and I was out like a light. Next morning came up, obviously the woke was up, breakfast, stuff like that, which is great, you know. I felt champion. Obviously, doctor come round who I knew. It was actually his ward I was on, which was insane. And he said, Mr. Binney, he said, you've been very, very lucky. He didn't call us Mr. Binney because he didn't ask by his first name. And he said, if it had been a couple of more days with that situation, he says, the bladder would have crushed the kidneys, and he went, you basically would have been on dialysis for the rest of your life. And I was like, wow, really? And he was going, yeah. He says, you know, in a bad way, but he says, like, he took the scan out, he was doing the other thing, and he was showing us that my kidneys had literally overnight had gone back to normal size, resumed function, and because of the catheter, there's no build-up away, there's no pressure there anymore, everything's good to go. But he said, obviously the problem is that you're not passing your wee, so he says, I can administer a drug over 20-48 hours that will relax the prostate, because he says that's underneath your bladder, and that then reforms, and basically that will allow you to wee normal. But he says the thing is, he went, that doesn't always work. He says you really should keep this in and then book in for an appointment for to go neurology, and then they test you properly. But he says, I'll see if I can get you in now. So anyway, he rang up literally on the side of me bed, and he was conflabbing with this neurologist, because obviously I don't think they really come up the wards to do the test. But anyway, half an hour later, by miracle, boom, in through the curtain he comes, asked all the history, I'm telling him everything. He says, lean over on your left, I'm going to put something up your bum, get your test, bangs this thing up my bum, there he gets to the moon. I'm like thinking, for fuck's sake, you know, what the fuck was that? Anyway, goes out, comes back about 20 minutes later, he says, you can either, you've got two choices, either wear this catheter for the rest of your life, or you'll have to have an operator on your prostate because basically it's goosed. And I was like, you've got to be fucking kidding me. I says, hey, how the fuck's that? And he went, what it is when you've had the anaesthetic for the operation, when you've been on that, it's basically goosed your prostate, and that's it, you know, you're done. And we can't repair it unless we operate properly. And if we don't operate, you can't go back to normal because you would have to wear the bag all the time, you know, to pee. Because he says the same thing would happen, just your bladder would fill up and prostate's not, I wouldn't let it out. I'm thinking, fucking hell, man, you couldn't make this up, could you? Anyway, he says, have a think, there's 2 different types of operation, left is all the leaflets, all the rest of it. I says, thanks very much for your time, and off he went. Anyway, next thing I knew, the doctor comes back in and he said, I'm really sorry to hear about the prostate, don't you know, but he says, you know, obviously stuff happens, you know, and I says, oh no, I says, just like, obviously there's a lot of risks with taking that operation as well, but I went, I certainly don't want this in for my life. He says, but okay, he says, what I'm trying to do now is rule out the clots in the legs, because obviously my leg numb and my hand numb and all the rest of it. So I think there's about a 4-month waiting list for this, to get this check. And what they do is they get your blood thinners, which I'd give us a one the night before, which counteracts the clots anyway, and then eventually get you in at some point and have a look, boom, boom, boom. Anyway, worked some magic again. Next thing I knew, I was going down on the afternoon to have the ultrascans and all that on my legs. And by this time as well, my left leg had started to go, and the right leg was up to the knee. You know, my leg was huge. I think was it 2 or 3 centimeters big on the other leg? Anyway, round the, like, girth wise. So they took us down, the scanners, but also while I was down there I got a full chest x-ray, because he said there can be like liquid form in your lungs, and he says, I just want to make sure you're clean and clear. Anyway, I come back, the lungs was clear as out and no clotting, so it was just like a knock-on effect of the build-up of the bladder and all that had swollen me things. And he says, you know, give it a few days after you go, and hopefully they'll start to like lighten up and the swelling will go down and all the rest of it. So like, I'm thinking, wow, this is just fucking unbelievable what's going on here. So he says, you sort of could go if you want, and you're pretty clear, and then obviously just make a decision about what you want to do going forward with the operation. But what was mad was, I says, go home with it, but it's like bucket of piss. I went, and he went, no, we'll put like a leg bag on you. It's just a smaller bag of the thing in there. You open it up yourself, you let the way out, you're back to square one and all this. Well, anyway, just to backtrack, and obviously it was a bit hilarious, but like, you can imagine the wards like pretty much on fire in the hospital. They're literally cooking you in your bed. So during the day in between all the testing, I'd been going out the ward, out for a bit of fresh air, and there was this guy Robert as well, who I was asked to take him out a couple of times in his wheelchair. But you can imagine, as I'm going out with these half-mast fucking aluminum green panties, fucking jammies on, holding the fucking box of piss and like a big bag of piss underneath. In the end I was like hooting it on me coat like that, you know, instead of carrying it. And obviously when I was going to go outside, it was like Glen Central, you know, the amount of people that must have been looking, thinking, fucking what the fuck, yeah, you escaped or something, you know. But what was even funnier was, because I felt great, I thought, oh, I'll go in the cafe and I'll have a coffee, you know, treat myself. I just keep going into the cafe and saying regular latte, you know, fucking stand there with a bucket of fucking piss, you know, in these fucking green aluminous fucking half-mast fucking jammy bottoms, you know. And I fucking swear down, you know, when people, I'm like, surely someone would take the initiative and go, he's escaped, you know what I mean? Let's fucking get him back on the ward type thing. But not one person, and there must have been thousands down there, you know. Not one person took the initiative to go, fuck me, I think he's getting out the ward, or, you know, he's escaped type thing. because I probably looked like an escapee, to be honest with you, the way I was fucking dressed, and I was like, fucking hell, man, Duncan. Anyway, but the faces on them were just fucking classic, you know. Anyway, so I sort of come back in, and the wife says, "Are you good to go then, Mr. Binney?" I went, yeah, I'm ready. I'm just packing up the last thing. She went, "Well, I'll go and get your leg bag." And I was like, no worries. Anyway, she pulled the curtain round. She said, "Just drop your pants, love." And so anyway, she's like trying to like put this thing on, but I'm like, "Oh, eat," you know, and she's trying to pull the fucking tube out the old one to put it in the new one, and like I could see her fucking giving it this, you know. I'm like, fucking whoa. She's like, "What?" Calm down. I went, "Hey man," I said, "if you pull that the wrong fucking way," I says, "you're gonna pull me fucking insides out." And he was just sort of semi-giggling, but at the same time looking as much as what the fuck's going on. Anyway, she got it out, put it into this like smaller bag thing, and I'm looking, going, and she says, "It attaches on with the velcros, look, I'll show you." And she's, all right. It's got to go down there, because obviously it's got to drain out on this pipe. So I looks at the end of me dick, and I'm like, So there's probably about like an inch and a half after the end of me normal dick, if you want to say it. And then there's a big fucking valve, you know, and then the tube, and then into the bag. And I'm like, So I says, "Look, I need to ask you a sexual question." He just sort of looked and went, "What?" I says, well, number one, I says, with this in, I didn't even know I'd get a hard on anyway, but I went, if I get a hard on, I says, there's no way that's going to eat, it's going to try and push onto that valve, and that valve isn't going in that little hole at the end of my dick. And of course, she couldn't fucking breathe, the nurse. She was crawling around. I thought she was going to fucking pass out. I thought, fuck me, it'll be me or innocent CPR in a fucking minute. And then she looked up, she went, "Mr. Binney," she went, "I've put like hundreds of these bags on patients." She went, "There's not one person ever asked me that question, you know." And she said, "Do you want the honest truth?" And I went, "Aye." And she went, "I don't know." I went, "Wow." So I rang the doctor I know. And I went, "Yeah." And he went, no, he says, "If you get an erection, it's got flexibility on it." He says, it'll just flex up, no problem, and it won't hit the valve, you know. And I thought, thank fuck for that. But then my other worry was, well, if this bag drops, or I drop it, or it slips or something, and the fucking tube comes out, where's that going to leave us? But apparently they told us when they put the tube in, they inflate like this balloon on the end of it, so you can't actually physically take the tube out yourself. They've got to deflate the balloon to get the tube out. So I thought, all right, I'm quietly confident that I felt good about that. So anyway, got me bag, got me pants over the top of the whole thing, got myself looking a little bit more normal, and organised to get myself picked up and took home, you know. Come home, and obviously I have no pain whatsoever. I'm going to the toilet as normal, as in pooing. Back on normal eating. Obviously with my eye, it was still obviously going through the motions of repair. So at times it's a little bit twitchy, it's a little bit itchy. It's hard to concentrate sometimes, and other times I'm fine. And obviously I'm having to basically monitor me bag of piss constantly, because it's not a massive bag, so it still fills up, you know, to let it pee out, and then you're back to square one. But I was worried. I thought if I got to bed with that, I thought that's not going to last the night, you know. So again, I texted the fucking doctor. I must have been thinking, fuck me, you're getting your money's worth. And I said, "What's happening?" I says, "If it fills up now, I'm gone with the wind. How you know what? It goes back with the tube. What the fuck goes on?" He says, "Well, it would." He says, "And it won't harm you, because he says you couldn't go that time and fill it up where it was." So he says, by the time you get up and you just empty, it would just come back through a bit faster. And you empty a couple of times, and you're back normal for the day. So that gives a bit of peace of mind. And I got me. That would have been the second night's sleep, and then obviously I think it was New Year's Eve, and sort of I've been sort of just thinking here, like, you know, I've obviously just made this video and hopefully people will understand that that's hard to explain to people on the phone every 50 minutes. The one thing I must say is I am feeling a little bit tired. I think that's just the whole thing of what's gone on. But I am absolutely devastated, you know, because obviously not only is the eye still a situation, but now I've got this prostate problem, and the problem is that I don't think I can get the operation until my eye's fully sorted, and this first operation is 4 to 6 weeks recovery, and then all being well, if that recovers, I go in for the donated eye, which is grafted onto my eye, and that's a 4 to 6 weeks. So at the worst, you're looking at 3 months before I possibly could have the a prostate procedure, and that comes with its own risks. The better ones are laser, and apparently the waiting list for that's about 8 months. So potentially I'm going to have to possibly go private, but until I get back to the eye place, which I've got an appointment next week at some point, they'll look at it and then I can explain what's gone on, because I don't think the consultant will believe what's going on, but it has. And then I'll say, look, obviously I'm assuming I'll not be able to have the prostate operation while my eye's in recovery. So can we just say 2023 is getting off to a real good start, you know? But being more positive about things, I mean, at least I can think straight now, and hopefully I had a lot set up as well to do, and I had a brilliant 2022 up until 7 weeks ago, really, when I got the conjunctivitis. I mean, I've been all over the world this year. I've had a business that's been great. You know, everything was going on track the way I wanted it. I had plans to set up on like online course coming into the new year. Everything was just spot on. You know, I was back on the matches. I was just, the whole thing was the social side of things was just off the charts. Seeing shows, you know, I went to Amsterdam. I've been just all over America for fucking 3.5 months, Switzerland, Dusseldorf. It was just an absolutely awesome year. And to think, you know, in a second, that dry eye, and now where I'm at 7 weeks later is just nothing short of absolutely mind-blowing. So I'm sure you're picking up, and everyone says it, you know, you just don't know what's around the corner, and you know, I tend to let things, I just go over the top of my head, if I'm being honest, but, you know, because if it's not there, there's no point in focusing on anything if it's not there. But as it came about, it's the last thing in your mind that you think, that could lead to this, could lead to this, could lead to that. And then, you know, you're pretty much fucking at death's door, you know. I mean, to think my kidneys were getting crushed, and, oh wow, man, and the drive, by the way, on the Wednesday morning up to the eye infirmary it felt like I had to go to London. I wanted to jump out with that car every 10 minutes. Remember, I was contemplating just peeing, but obviously because my kidneys were getting crushed, the slightest bump in the car, I was like, oh no, fuck's sake, you know. I mean, it wasn't the driver's fault, it was just the fact I didn't know my condition, and obviously it was dangerous, really. But anyway, I got there. But like I say, there's more to it, but you know, I don't even know how long I've been waxing on now, but I just wanted to let everyone know, because there's a lot of people set with well wishes and asking us, and you know, trying to explain that to people. I mean, come on, you know. And I had a little pockets thing where I was feeling all right, where I actually managed to talk to people, and I think them people are more in shock now, realizing what's gone on, because I sort of seemed to be okay, and then all of a sudden it just turned for the worst again. But like I say, I'm just going to have to look at 2023 as positive as I can, and hopefully, you know, get through this. But we're gonna, you know, the Hitmen's, the band's gonna have to be put on hold. Can't go do any gym training. Can't do now really, other than possible sort of paperwork and stuff like that. And I'm looking to do an online thing, so I might probably get a chance to do it now, because I'm going to be housed up. Just need to hopefully sign off on a couple of things with a new contract and that, and get the lads rocking and rolling in the new year, and that'll give us a bit of respite to chill a bit and get myself pulled together. Anyway, sorry for waxing on, but you know, if you want to know, you know now. So, you know, from one extreme to the other, yeah. Fucking wow. Anyway, God bless you all, and I hope you all have everything you want in 2023. And I'm sure you'll look out for my new course coming. Harley now went in 2023, and it's a cracker as well. So God bless you. I'll see you later. Good night. Well, you stop that.